Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The bold and the beautiful spoilers. Thomas carted off to psychiatric facility. The bold and the beautiful B&B. Spoilers reveal that we have to ask, is Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, headed for a psychiatric facility? Thomas is obviously having a mental health setback that many B&B fans feel must be addressed. The trouble started when Thomas basically spelled out for Ridge Forrester, Thorsten K., what would happen if he let Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Buddick, down again. Thomas opened up about feeling lost in his personal life as well as his professional one. Between ending his engagement with Paris Buckingham, Diamond White, and not having a real purpose in his career, Thomas has really been struggling. That's why Thomas stressed the importance of Ridge and Taylor's reunion, which Ridge has now yanked away. Thomas made it clear that he couldn't handle Taylor and Ridge's split, so his warning may come true. Of course, it makes sense for Ridge to follow his heart. Ridge may be a flip-flopper who doesn't treat women right, but he's entitled to make decisions for himself. Ridge certainly doesn't need to stay with a woman he doesn't want just to keep Thomas from going off the rails. If Thomas is that mentally unstable, he needs real help. That's perhaps more evident than ever now that Thomas is growing increasingly sinister and fixating on Brooke's flame. Thomas just threatened Brooke in the design office and will have another major outburst in the September 15 episode. After Thomas gets updates on Ridge and Brooke tying the knot, he'll blow his top. Thomas will go as far as accusing Brooke of lying and will push Ridge to tell him this remarriage didn't happen. Naturally, Ridge will confirm he indeed said, "I do" to Brooke, and plans on being with her forever. There's no predicting what Thomas will do once Ridge's news sinks in, so Brooke could be in grave danger. Regardless, Thomas is way too invested in his father's love life and way too obsessed with Brooke being some master manipulator who's ruined everything. Whatever Thomas made in his mental health journey has gone right out the window. Thomas has undergone therapy, but he may need more than the help he's received in the past. Should Thomas get treatment at a psychiatric facility? If Thomas does something to prove he's a danger to himself or others, an intervention may be necessary. The Bold and the Beautiful has never shied away from high-stakes drama, shocking turns, and jaw-dropping family betrayals. But the latest spoilers hint at something that may redefine the Forrester family dynamics in ways fans couldn't have predicted. Thomas Forrester, long the black sheep of the clan, but also its misunderstood genius, is set to face yet another devastating twist. Sources suggest that Thomas will be carted off to a psychiatric facility after his latest spiral. And this decision could change everything for his future, his career at Forrester Creations, and his role as a father to Douglas. Thomas's fragile stability. Thomas has been on a roller coaster ride for years. Ever since his dark obsession with Hope spiraled out of control, fans have watched him try desperately to claw his way back to stability. He's been through therapy, made genuine attempts at redemption, and even stepped aside to allow Hope and Douglas the peace they deserved. For a while, it seemed like he was finally turning the corner. But the Bold and the Beautiful thrives on the idea that no one is ever truly free from their past. For Thomas, that past is a monster lurking in the shadows, waiting to resurface when he least expects it. Recent episodes have hinted that his old patterns of paranoia, manipulation, and inner conflict are beginning to bubble up again. When loved ones confront him about his erratic behavior, his fragile facade cracks, and this time, the consequences will be dire. The incident that changes everything. Spoilers tease that Thomas will face a dramatic meltdown in the coming weeks. Though details remain under wraps, whispers point toward a heated confrontation involving Hope, Douglas, and possibly even Ridge. Thomas's desperation to hold on to the people he loves most could lead to an explosive outburst, one that makes his family fear he is once again spiraling out of control. Whether it's a violent altercation, a shocking hallucination, or an act of reckless self-destruction, the fallout will be undeniable. Ridge, Brooke, and Steffi will be forced to make a heart-wrenching decision: to have Thomas placed in a psychiatric facility for his own safety. And though the move will come from a place of love, it will feel like the ultimate betrayal to Thomas, who has spent years trying to prove he's changed. Ridge's agonizing choice. For Ridge Forrester, this decision won't come easily. He has always had a soft spot for Thomas, often defending him when others saw only the worst. But as a father, he's torn between wanting to protect his son and realizing that denial only feeds Thomas's instability. Brooke, never one to shy away from voicing her concerns, will likely push Ridge to act decisively before Thomas hurts himself or someone else. Ridge's heartbreak will be palpable as he signs off on the psychiatric commitment. This isn't just about controlling a scandal at Forrester Creations. It's about saving his son from himself. But will Thomas see it that way? Or will he interpret his father's actions as yet another abandonment in a lifetime full of them? Hope's conflicted guilt. Perhaps no one will feel this crisis more deeply than Hope. She has a complicated history with Thomas, one laced with manipulation, obsession, and betrayal, but also with moments of genuine connection and co-parenting triumph. Over the past year, the show teased a more intimate bond between them, one that blurred the lines of friendship and romance. Hope has defended Thomas when others doubted him, even risking her own reputation in the process. If Thomas's breakdown occurs during a conflict involving her, Hope will be consumed with guilt. Did she push him too far? Did her inability to commit fully to him exacerbate his fragile mental state? Her heart will ache not only for Thomas, but for Douglas, who will once again be caught in the middle of a storm he never asked for. Douglas's heartache. Douglas has been the innocent victim of Thomas's instability for years. Though he loves his father dearly, he has also witnessed moments that no child should have to endure, moments of fear, manipulation, and confusion. Spoilers suggest that Douglas may be the catalyst for Thomas's latest breakdown, either by confronting him or by innocently revealing something that pushes Thomas over the edge. Watching his father taken away to a psychiatric facility will be a traumatic experience for Douglas. But it may also open the door for new custody battles. Could Hope and Liam step in once again to provide Douglas with stability? Or will Ridge and Steffi fight to keep the boy close to the Forrester family? Either way, Douglas's emotional well-being will become a central storyline. Steffi's protective instincts. Steffi has always walked a fine line with her brother. She loves him fiercely, but she's also been one of the first to call him out when his behavior turns destructive. This time, spoilers indicate that Steffi will be instrumental in convincing Ridge to commit Thomas. She won't see it as a betrayal, but as an act of love. Steffi's protective instincts will also extend to Douglas. With Hope distracted and Ridge heartbroken, Steffi may step in to make sure her nephew feels safe. But Steffi's own family life is complicated, with Finn, Sheila, and her children already demanding her energy. Can she truly balance it all, or will Thomas's collapse put an unsustainable strain on her world? What this means for Forrester Creations. Thomas is not just a troubled man. He's also one of Forrester Creations' brightest designers. His visionary work has saved the company more than once, and his absence will leave a gaping hole in the fashion house. Spoilers suggest that Hope's hope for the future line will once again be at risk without Thomas's creativity. Will this push Hope to lean on someone else for support, perhaps Even's End or a surprise new designer? Or will Eric, battling his own health struggles, step up to ensure the company doesn't falter during yet another crisis. The future of Thomas Forrester. Fans know that Thomas's story is far from over. Soap operas thrive on redemption arcs, and Thomas has had more than one. Being carted off to a psychiatric facility could be the reset button he needs. Perhaps this time, with proper treatment and a new outlook, Thomas could return stronger, healthier, and finally free from the shadows of his past.